Alright, guys. Welcome back to another, news-related video. This is Dash All Rose here. Welcome back to another news-related video. This time we're going to be talking about, the CEO stepping down and all that. And kind of, my thoughts on the, future of the Walt Disney Company. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, because I do have some things to say, and technically I've already made a video about this, but since then, there has been some stuff going on and all that, and then we got Iger leaving early, so, yeah, I'm going to talk about that. You guys know the drill. If you guys don't like me talking about this stuff, then you guys can click off the video, because I do reviews, I do Let's Plays and all that. I know the Let's Plays are slowing down right now. I actually have one of them complete already. I just have to get it, the Katamari one. I just gotta get it uploaded. So I gotta take the PS5 and all that to my dad's house. It's kind of a pain, but I will be making I'm gonna be making an update video after this talking about that. So, because I'll be talking about that, and I'll be talking about my, my Luigi's Mansion 3 Let's Play I've been doing too. I'm gonna do all of that, because I want to redo the update on the channel, because some things have kind of changed since then, but I'll explain more about that when I get to that. But, yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram, in Threads, and you guys can also follow me on X, because I'm on X as well. I haven't been posting a lot of stuff on X. I need to start doing that more, but I kind of don't really want to be moving around a lot, so I'm kind of just sticking with these platforms. Even though I don't really like having to have, like, 2 separate platforms, for Instagram and all that, I'm just like, Instagram and Threads, it's kind of annoying, but, because it takes up more space on my phone, but anywho, yeah, I'm gonna be talking about, this, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So yeah, I'm doing this on the new phone again, because, I cannot figure out what I did with the other phone, and all that, and, I was gonna just wait and make this video later, but I was like, you know what? I went on Facebook and had some stuff I want to show you guys in a second too about this guy and all that, and I kind of show you guys kind of some problems I'm having here, but yeah, I'll go into detail about that in a second. So let's go ahead and start off with the fact that yeah, Bob Iger is leaving, and he's leaving Disney. We'll see if he actually stays gone this time or actually comes back, because, he basically left before and then came back when shit was getting bad under Chapek. And I mean, Chapek wasn't the greatest CEO either, but I think he kind of was screwing Pixar over and all that, but not releasing crap in theaters and all that, but he wasn't really there long enough to really do a lot of damage. This guy here has fucking done a shit ton of damage on Disney. He's done a shit ton of damage. I mean, he went on a money sprint and was buying shit up left and right. I mean, he bought Pixar, he bought, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and all that. And I mean, yeah, it's okay to buy some IPs, but he kept buying shit and all that, and, not only he was buying shit, but running it into the ground, like Lucasfilm. Like, Lucasfilm, for example, was, that was all his fault of why it got bad. Now, I know people have had some issues with George Lucas, with some decisions he was making, like, with, like, the prequels and, like, kind of ruining characters like General Grievous and all that. But George Lucas knew a lot about Star Wars. Like, that was his thing. He made Star Wars, and yeah, he was getting older and sold the company off, but he still wanted to be involved with some of the stuff, and they kind of just screwed him over, and they wanted to do things their way, and yeah, I mean, technically him selling the rights off means they have the opportunity to do what they want. That's why we didn't get the sequel trilogy and all that he made. But the thing is, though, is the sequel trilogy we got was dog shit. Like, it started off not great either. It was like, The Force Awakens was a rip-off of A New Hope. I mean, it had some new ideas in there. Like, I did like that we got to see, like, Finn as a stormtrooper and all that. That was pretty cool. And he secretly was a Jedi and all that. That was cool stuff there. And then Kylo Ren, which I guess is kind of like a ripoff of Darth Vader, but I kind of felt like they had a good idea there. Heck, we even got our first, I think it was our first female stormtrooper too. She was like a silver one, so they had some good ideas in there. And then getting the characters back together and all that, but they didn't do a very good job with that because a lot of it was just a rip-off. Like, they redid the Death Star scene again and all that, and we never got to see the original cast together. And I know people don't really like actors like Mark Hamill and stuff anymore because of some of the crap he said. But for people like me who just kind of want to, who just drown out the crap going on behind the scenes a lot of the times, I'm just I kind of just drown that out and just want to enjoy, a movie or a show. Just the fact that they did all that was kind of ridiculous, but they kind of just, they didn't have Han Solo in there and all. It was like a mess. And then they did this with, they got words of The Last Jedi and all. They had like different people, writing different stuff. Like, you guys cannot tell me, you guys cannot watch and tell me that they did not have a plan writing the crap. They just kind of threw whatever they wanted at the wall and seeing what could stick and what didn't, or actually they didn't even do that. They just threw a bunch of shit on the wall and just did it like that. They didn't even do the whole what didn't stick thing, It's just it's like they didn't really know what they were doing, So yeah, I mean, there was that, and then, I mean, this guy, could have fired Kathleen Kennedy, and yeah, Chapek could have too, but Iger could have, definitely fired her and all that, and he didn't do any of that. He didn't do hardly anything. He just kept running the brand into the ground more and more. I mean, he did stupid shit like replacing, things people liked, like Playouts Disney with Disney Junior, so he could compete with Nick Jr. and all that. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's just a small mistake, but it's still kind of stupid. He did that, So he made minor things like that, and then he did things like, he did a lot of shit I've been saying he's done, he was responsible for getting rid of Walt Disney pictures in the movies, So, when you watch a movie like Frozen or something like that, it just says Disney now. It doesn't say Walt Disney Pictures. He did a lot of that shit. He did a lot of it. He even shut down a lot of animation stuff, too. And then, he bought out Fox. And then when COVID hit, he left. And I want to clarify, too, now, I haven't really looked into that, recently, but I'm pretty sure I looked into it in the past, and Iger here was trying to run his mouth and say, when he was not in there, trying to say that Disney, he regrets buying Fox. Now the tweets are, hidden and all that, but they were there, and then when he came back, all that shit that he said, he buried it under the ground because he was trying to make himself look like he's the fucking good guy here, and Chapek was the monster, and he's not. Iger is a shitty person. Like, he was a shitty CEO. Like, he was probably like the worst thing to happen to Disney. Like, I think Michael Eisner ran shit better. And that's saying something because Michael Eisner's patting himself on the back, too. Or I should say, not himself, I mean, Iger. He's patting Iger on the back, telling him a good job, when this guy here literally fucking ran everything into the ground. And all like, and yeah, Michael Eisner did his fair share of problems too, but I just don't, I don't think, him praising, Iger was a good thing, because Iger did not do anything good, But people can change, that's the problem. People can change for the better or worse, so, that's the thing. So Michael Eisner might have been, good for a while there, and then he got bad, but yeah, I think he was, ousted from the company, he was forced out, and then Iger got put in there. So, yeah. But yeah, like I said, Iger is the worst, the worst thing to pretty much happen with the company, So, I don't really care if he's gone, I hope he never comes back. But that's kind of where I'm, kind of worried about, because, I told you guys about the Chapek situation, Chapek was kind of put in there out of nowhere. Right before COVID hit, he was put in there. So, everybody was mad at him for saying stupid crap. And yeah, he said some stupid crap, trying to say animation was for kids, not adults, and this and that. And I'm yeah, that's pretty bad. But I definitely noticed when he was in there, they weren't spending as much on, new properties. Yeah, I will say a lot of the content on Disney Plus was expensive, but they weren't buying new shit up. They were focusing on the IPs they had, pretty much. But then when Iger came back, he started going and buying more shit up again. He bought a huge share of, Fubo TV, where, by the way, they already have Disney Plus and Hulu. They had to buy Hulu up, and then he goes and does this. And then he also bought, that wrestling crap too. I think it was the wrestling stuff. I don't remember. I think it was that. Yeah, he bought that up. Hell, even the news anchor people were questioning, Iger's decision on that. I think this is on. This is on Universal's news station. But he's you bought the rights to use something, but you don't actually own it. And then there was another guy, that was another guy that was right there and all that, basically, just saying well, there wasn't anything for us to buy at the time, and I'm just again, that's the problem. Iger only cares about buying shit up. He doesn't care about the company. He just wants to buy shit up and run it into the ground, That's the thing, he's taking so much IP and he's running it into the ground. When he bought Fox, as soon as he fucking bought Fox, he not only canceled a bunch of shows and stuff, but he replaced the Fox name, which, I guess you could say that one maybe doesn't make much sense, it makes more sense because, Disney doesn't own the Fox name. But then, even now, it's they barely use the 20th Century Studios name. They use their own logo. Every year they're making these fucking Diary of Wimpy Kid movies. They don't even use the logo. So it's they bought all this Fox, products and shit like that. And then, that was already ran into the ground. Then they run it into the ground further with, unnecessary sequels and all that. And yeah, there's been some good stuff coming out of it. I will say the Deadpool and Wolverine movie was pretty good, but also that doesn't use the 20th Century Studios logo either. So, what was the point of them buying all this shit up if they're not even really, they're not really using any of it, I don't know. I think it's just ridiculous that like I said, he was able to stay around like this long and all that, and I see people praising the guy, but I want to show you guys too, this is the part where I'm like, this shows you right here, this cannot be trusted. But let me show you guys, this isn't where I wanted to make this video, so hang on a second. Alright, so on here, you guys see, this is like, this is me posting my comment. Yeah, see, that's the Disney thing there. Or I guess it stops on its own, okay. But yeah, see that? So if you guys go down here, I don't know if the comment was back or not. It was gone. But I could not find my profile anywhere though. But yeah, these people here, though, a lot of them are praising Bob Iger. Like this person says, Mr. Iger can be considered the second most important person in Disney history next to Walt. Thank you, Bob Iger. Yeah, thank you for, destroying a fucking good, a good, brand and all that. Trying to see if I'm making sure I'm not missing anything, but just to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. Because this is literally the same thing I was on before. And my comment is, like, missing. So they're like burying a lot of comments down. Because I read them before, and they weren't even there. It says most relevant is selected, so some comments may be filtered out. Yes, so some may be filtered out. But you guys see what I'm talking about? If Iger is such a good guy, why did they filter out my comments? I didn't even say anything nasty to him, and they filtered it out. It's mostly positive, quotes. Now, these are, like, huge Disney nerds, like, huge Disney nerds. I mean, I know there's people out there that really like Disney, but these are, like, the huge Disney nerds. And all that. They're like blinded by nostalgic and don't pay attention to the shit like this guy has done. But yeah, the comments are gone. So right there, that shows you this guy is a fucking piece of garbage. And, and the fact that they, are doing this, it just shows you he's not to be trusted. And you could be like, well, it's not really probably him doing it, it could be just a random account. It's still ridiculous. And this has actually happened before. I even have commented on, like, Hulu and stuff, too, on there, because they're advertising Hulu. They're using, actually, Facebook to advertise their shit on there. And I'm trying to say too that that Hulu is like in Disney Plus. Like I think it's not a very good idea. Like I think they need to probably just shut it down because they do. I think Disney is spending way too much money on Disney Plus because I told you guys in another video that they're basically just giving away Disney Plus at this point. They're just giving it away, So it's like they're just giving it away, Like $5, well, actually, it's like $5.99. I think it's what it was, $4.99 or $5.99, for like 3 months. That may not seem too bad, but like, that's pretty much just giving it away at that point, And, yeah, I'm just saying, there's a lot of weird crap going on Facebook. I mean, I'm not gonna show off everything, but I'm just showing you guys an example of what I'm talking about. That's what they're doing. They're hiding your comments and all of that because they think that they're gonna get away with that. But they're not. They're not getting away with it because they've done this shit before with fucking movies and stuff too. They tried to hide your comments and all that. Or they have actually shut down comments and, the dislike buttons before, YouTube got rid of it entirely. And honestly, it didn't do any good. It actually, didn't change people's minds on seeing something. It just makes people will not want to see your products, when you're doing that. So yeah. Yeah, I will say, yeah, I do miss the dislike button on YouTube, and it might sound funny, like why would I want to miss something like that, but it actually can help improve your videos. Yeah, there are people that can also spam on your dislike too, but that's what YouTube did. They tried to say, oh, it's to protect the creators, and I'm like, well, let the creators decide if they want it or not. Don't make a corporation do it. But yeah, I'm just saying. It's just there's been weird crap like that going on and that's the thing. That's why I don't really trust that. And Iger is also in a really big hurry to leave the company. I think I've stated at the beginning of the video. If not, I'll bring it up here. So he was supposed to leave in December, but he left today, or I guess yesterday now, because it's after midnight. But still, he left, yesterday, and he wasn't supposed to leave until several months later, at the end of the year. So he's in awfully a big hurry to leave the company, just like before. And I'm going to remind you guys that that's what happened before. They put all the blame on Chapek and all that, and I keep telling you guys, Chapek, although he wasn't a great CEO either, he wasn't responsible for a lot of the problems we're dealing with right now. That was Iger. Now you could have an argument on whether if Chapek had control at all in the company, because there's people saying he didn't really have much to say because Iger was still in the background controlling him like a puppet. But my point is Iger started a lot of this shit, and they're trying to blame it on Chapek. I see people in the comments all the time, like that, I'm telling you guys, this guy is not a good guy. He's a bad CEO. He's a terrible person, and that's the problem. And that's the thing, it's just ridiculous that he was able to stay around this long. He's just a greedy, crook, who constantly, tries to blame others for crap he does and all that, and, that's the problem. And it's just ridiculous. And, yeah, you could say, too, well, the movies have been better also since, he came back, but you gotta remember, too, movies take a couple years to make. And actually, I think Zootopia 2 was actually announced under Chapek. It was actually announced. So it would have taken a couple years to, film Zootopia 2. Now, maybe they could have changed some scenes up in it, I don't know, but all those bad movies that were under Chapek were definitely from Iger. Iger greenlighted a lot of that shit. He greenlighted a lot of it. Even that freaking shitty Buzz Lightyear movie, which erased the original one from Pixar. That came out in the 2002 or 2000. The Buzz Lightyear Star Command. Yeah, he basically, greenlighted it. It just got released in 2022 because of COVID. It kept getting released. The release schedule got pushed back more and more. So yeah, Chapek, Chapek, could have kept that out of the film or out of the theaters, or he could have just shut it, stopped it in production when it was still a few years off. But that was already in production when Iger was in that office. I'm sorry, in Disney. Because he didn't leave until 2020. But yeah, I don't think it's looking very good, and that's kind of what I'm afraid about Josh tomorrow. Will Josh tomorrow even have a say on what he wants? Because The other gal, I think her name's like, I forgot her name. She came from Fox and all that. Where Josh Tomorrow has been, with Disney for a while. Um, but I think it's Dana Walden. I think is what her name is. But she got a promotion and all that, and so she's got control of the fucking animation stuff. And people have had problems with her with the animation. That was Iger, because Iger really wanted her, not Josh Tomorrow, it seems. But Josh Tomorrow was the one who got picked. So he was trying to push her up. So he's definitely was doing some shit behind the scenes. He was. But yeah, but again, I'm just like I said, I don't know if anything's gonna change, but I've said before, if Disney doesn't get any better, if they don't get better, they may be gone. They may be history, because their stock is actually down too. Now, I guess to be fair on that one, I guess the stock kind of, I don't know, I've been noticing the stock doesn't seem to be mattering much anymore by looking at things, because I don't know. I mean, I guess people could have bought some stock, when Iger came back, because again, a lot of people were praising him for coming back. Again, to get rid of that nasty, Bob Chapek, even though, again, he did a lot of this shit that they're blaming Chapek for, but I'm just saying, like, the stock went up. It actually never really went all the way back up, because before COVID, the stock was actually like I think it was over like 200 and a share or something like that. It was really high, and it got up 100, but it never went back up to where it was. But again, there could be some stuff going on in there too. I don't know. But another thing too that has been happening too, I want to point this out in this video, because I'd rather not make a separate video on it. But apparently too, in the Oscars, Disney has lost 4 years in a row. They have lost in the Oscars. Yeah, they've been losing for 4 years straight, and all that. And the Oscars, I believe, they're actually they have more in control with that stuff. From what I can hear, because it's a part of ABC Family. And I think it was like a contract, which apparently YouTube is going to get the Oscar stuff in 2029. I thought they were going to get it starting next year or something, but no, it's not until 2029, which, apparently though, the Oscars and all, which I'm thinking of the Oscars. The Oscars are, because there's like two different, I think, set of reward stuff. I think it's the Oscars, but basically, Disney has lost like 4 years in a row, and they were winning for a while there. The thing is, though, in the past, I don't feel like they deserve to win. Even in 2019, I think Toy Story 4 actually won in 2019. One of those. I could be wrong, but I think they won it. Toy Story 4 really didn't deserve to win it. Hell, pretty much a lot of the movies were really bad there. I think it was like 2017 or 18 when the movies that they were releasing started getting really bad around that time. I don't know, I think it was 2018, because 2017 they still had some good stuff in there, but yeah, 2018 was when I noticed their movies they were starting to get bad as well. But I don't even think it really matters at this point. They just pick random crap anymore, it seems like. But apparently the Oscars are losing audiences too. There's not really a lot of people that watch the Oscars anymore. Pretty much most people don't watch them. No, there's still I think 50 million, which may seem like a lot of people, but there are billions of people on the planet, and I think I've seen a lot of YouTubers have way more views than that. So the fact that it's 50 million is kind of crazy, but That's why I'm like, if YouTube getting, their hands on the Oscars as a deal, just attract people. I'm like, that's a pretty stupid idea because the Oscars are basically just gone anymore. Like people don't really care about them much anymore. They could just create their own Oscars. Now, a lot of them are doing this shit though because again they want to compete with compete with Hollywood. They're trying to become, I think, Hollywood's from what I could hear, and it actually even looks like it. With crap, they're trying to become a streaming service like them, and I'm like, that's not a very smart idea. That's a pretty stupid idea. Other people have said it too, but YouTube may not listen. But yeah, that's becoming a thing too. So yeah, Disney I'm sorry, they will lose the Oscar stuff and all that here pretty soon. But again, they're not going to be really losing a lot there because the Oscars, they suck. They're not really good anymore. People have reported that they're. I think it's the Oscars or the Globers or whatever they are. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure there's a couple different rewards stuff they do, but I don't know. I think it's the Oscars. I don't know. But I'm just like, again, I hate, that, we're kind of we got to this point and all with, the Walt Disney Company and all that too, but, I don't know, I'm hoping maybe Josh tomorrow will have, Josh tomorrow, I'm hoping maybe they'll have, maybe he'll have more control over the company and all that. But I don't know if he will or not. I don't know. But Iger is definitely up there in age. Iger is getting old, so it's not like he can keep doing this forever, He's getting old. And I know that people have been working on now this might sound crazy, but a lot of things can be possible. They're I think they're working on putting brains in robots or chips or something, But I'm I don't know. I mean, the thing is though, even if your brains get put in chips, you'd still be your original self would still be gone, But yeah, I think I've been hearing them doing that. So maybe Iger could put himself in a little AI robot or something, and he can just live forever. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want, that. Not saying I wish, death upon people. I'm just saying, I wouldn't want this freaking guy to be, running, this company forever. But yeah, that's pretty much what it's happening. Like he said, he's getting older and all that, and it's just kind of I think he was, like I said, he's just I don't know if he's going to be able to keep pulling the strings and stuff like he was. I just think it's funny that he's leaving so early, and then Kathleen Kennedy's contract was not renewed. And you could say, well, maybe she's in a shitty job and all that, and, they wanted to fire her. But I don't think they fired her. I think she just got her contract up. But I feel like I think she left on her own because, again, the company is getting really bad. And I mean, yeah, Kathleen Kennedy is getting old, too. She's, around the same age as Iger. But I'm just saying, again, it's just weird, seeing all this happening so fast. But I don't know. But I don't know if I have a lot else to say about this. I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen here. I will say, though, I really wish that, I don't know, there needs to be a freaking law or something, in businesses and shit, where, CEOs or something like that, if they fuck up a lot, they need to get the boot. Because that's why we're losing so many companies, because these CEOs keep fucking ruining, these companies. That's why why Warner Brothers and all that is getting sold off to Paramount, is because we have a fucking shitty-ass CEO that was running that company, and he ran it into the ground, and then sold it off. And he's making fucking millions of dollars, actually billions, and he's gonna get away with it. He's gonna walk away with it and make everybody else suffer because of it, you know? Like, it's not just them. It's a lot of companies. A lot of companies are doing this shit, you know? They're just running... They have these fucking CEOs have too much power. They go in there and they never come out because they keep running shit into the ground. I mean, we got all that backlash with that fucking CEO at McDonald's too, you know? Well, with him remodeling the damn stores. Well, I don't know if he was entirely partial with that. I mean, yeah, they're still doubling and tripling down on that shit, but I think they've been doing that. I think he became the CEO in the last like few years or so. I don't know. He hasn't been there super long, but my point is, you know, is he also is getting backlash for remodeling the damn store, you know, the restaurants and ruining them and all that, and then, you know, also, you know, we have that whole video he was making on the burger and all that. But he still has a job, you know? So I'm just like sick of these fucking CEOs ruining these companies and all that, and then getting away with it and all that, you know? It just sucks, you know? It just sucks to see that, you know? Like that they're, you know, getting away with all this shit that they're doing. Like, I don't know how they're doing it, but somehow they're doing it. But yeah, they shouldn't be getting away with this, you know, because that's why we're losing a lot of businesses too. And I mean, I'm sure, like I said, we've had disasters like COVID and all that have ruined some, you know, companies, but this shit's been happening even before COVID, you know. So, I mean, some businesses shut down because of COVID, but a lot of them, you know, they're just run by shitty, you know, CEOs. It's like Kmart and Sears. Both Kmart and Sears were both like massive companies. And then, I mean, they were like, Kmart was struggling in the early 2000s. I think even in the late 90s. But then, like, they merged with Sears and then they took Sears down with them. You know, and now we're down to like 5 Sears left in the US and all that. You know, so I'm like, clearly we need like, you know, new, you know, people in charge and all that who care about these brands, you know. But unfortunately, there's only so much you could do, you know? Only so much you guys could do. Or we can do in general, you know. But that's kind of what we're at, you know, but yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that up because that's becoming a thing, and that's kind of where Disney's at, you know, as well. It's like Iger should have not been in charge as long as he was, especially all the damage he did to the company. Like, he shouldn't have been allowed to come back, especially after he left the first time. Like, they should have hired somebody else to run it, and you could be like, well, Iger was only there temporarily until they found a new CEO, but he did a lot of damage to the company. He even put the company in debt when he bought Fox. And actually, they're in huge debt. I looked it up. So Universal is in debt too. But Disney is in even bigger debt. They are in like huge debt. I was looking up them. I was looking up Paramount. You know, Paramount's in debt too. And yeah, them buying Warner Brothers is probably not a great idea, especially with the money they're spending on it. But you know, my point is again, like I said, like the fact that he bought out Fox and all that, and he didn't do anything when he came back to fix any of this mess he caused, just shows you again what a great, you know, person he is. And by great, I mean, I'm being sarcastic. A shitty person, a shitty CEO that again should have been fired a long time ago. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was even at one point too, you know, which it got kind of buried underneath the bus, but he was talking about selling some crap off. That was like his first year he came back. And then, like, out of nowhere, he just suddenly decided he didn't want to sell anything off. And again, it said that's all he cares about was growing the company. He wanted to grow it more and more, and that's kind of the problem. And I mentioned this about Paramount. That's kind of what I'm worried about Paramount. I'm like, are they going to do the same thing with Paramount with the Ellisons? Are they going to do the same thing? I'm just like, that's what I'm afraid about. Just them buying up stuff and then. I mean, I've said they're kind of like Iger here. Now, I mean, they're like Trump supporters, and Iger doesn't support Trump and all that. I mean, even though he went to the White House, I think he did that to get himself out of this crap they were dealing with. But yeah, basically, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I mean, it might sound bad, but But I've told you guys, I don't really, when it comes to CEOs too, I don't even care who gets what, or like who supports what. When it comes to politics, I just want good leadership. And that's kind of where I kind of went with the Ellisons. Like, I don't like them, buying Warner Brothers and all this crap when Paramount's in debt, Same with Disney, with Iger, But, yeah, I don't know. But I'm probably going to end up letting things go. But I don't really have a lot else to say about this. But, yeah, I don't know if much is going to change or not. We'll see. Because we'll see if Iger actually stays out this time. Because, like I said, Iger's getting old, anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe he might stay out of crap this time. But who the hell knows? But anywho, I'm going to go ahead and get going now. So see you guys later. Bye-bye.